Here's something nobody tells you about Max Verstappen. He didn't arrive in Formula One as a prodigy. He arrived as a gamble. A teenager who hadn't even taken his driving test, whose own father, a former F1 driver, said publicly that putting him in a Grand Prix was borderline irresponsible. And yet, on that Sunday in Spa, that teenager didn't just survive. He outqualified his teammate. He battled veterans. He scared people who had been racing at this level for a decade. The question was never, can he do it? The question was, what happens when someone this fast has nothing left to fear? Maximilian Verstappen was born into motorsport. His father, Jos Verstappen, raced in 107 Formula One Grand Prix. His mother, Sophie Kumpen, was one of the fastest kart racers in Europe. This wasn't just a family hobby, this was a bloodline. By the time Max was 7, he was karting. By 9, he was beating adults. By 15, he had left school. Not dropped out, left, because his dad had a deal with Red Bull and Formula 3 was waiting. Jos's philosophy was brutal, perfection or nothing. Stories emerged of Jos leaving a young Max stranded at a karting circuit after a mistake, making him find his own way home. The lesson? In motorsport, nobody saves you. You save yourself. It was harsh, it was arguably extreme, but it built something in Max that money and talent alone never could, a psychological immune system. When the pressure hit in F1, it didn't break him, it felt familiar. The critics were loud, too young, too aggressive, reckless. But here's what the critics missed. Max wasn't reckless, he was precise at a speed that looked reckless to everyone else. There's a difference, a huge one, and it took the rest of the world about 3 years to figure that out. 4 races into the 2016 season, Red Bull made a decision that stunned the paddock. They pulled Daniil Kvyat, a driver with actual F1 experience, and dropped 18-year-old Max Verstappen into the senior seat. No warning, no transition period, just you're racing a Red Bull on Sunday. Not a test, a race at one of the most technically demanding circuits on the calendar. And then something extraordinary happened. Max Verstappen, in his very first race for Red Bull, won. Not a podium, not a points finish, a win. He became the youngest Formula One race winner in history at 18 years and 228 days. The crowd at Barcelona didn't just cheer, they went silent first, because what they'd just seen didn't compute. The old guard looked at each other across the pit lane and thought, who is this kid? For 5 years, Max Verstappen did everything right, and it wasn't enough. Red Bull's car kept breaking down, their engine partnership was imploding, reliability, a disaster. There were races where Max was simply the fastest driver on the circuit, and he still went home with nothing. Other drivers would have cracked, demanded a transfer, gone quiet. Max got louder, more aggressive, more committed. He was building something, and in 2021, it detonated. Abu Dhabi 2021, final race, equal on points, winner takes everything. That last lap, the safety car controversy, the restart, the overtake, will be debated for decades. But here's what can't be debated. Max Verstappen held his nerve when every variable was against him. He executed the pass, he held the line, he became world champion. And then, he just did it again. And again. By 2023, he had 19 race wins in a single season, a number so absurd it barely feels real. Here's the brutal truth we started with. And here's the full picture. Max Verstappen didn't rise to Formula One despite all the pressure, the criticism, the too young, too fast narrative. He rose because of it. Every journalist who said he wasn't ready, every competitor who underestimated him, every mechanical failure that should have broken his momentum, they didn't slow him down, they calibrated him. He is, right now, the fastest thing on four wheels on planet Earth, and he got there by building a version of himself that simply doesn't process doubt the same way the rest of us do. So here's my question for you, and I genuinely want to know what you think. Is Max Verstappen's dominance about the car, about Red Bull's engineering genius, or is there something in that psychological wiring, that pressure-proof mindset built by Jos on cold Belgian karting circuits that no rival can engineer away? Drop your answer below, because this conversation, it's just getting started. If you want to go deeper on the physics of what Max does in corners that nobody else will even attempt, that video is right here. I'll see you there.